Hey, we're live on Brunch with Brian. Always great to spend time with you. And of course, it's Formal Dining Room Friday, as we always do. So today, coming to you from our Formal Dining Room, I want to talk about your weekend. So I like to talk about Friday as Foundation Friday. It sets up your weekend. A lot of times you can make some connections with people on Friday that will lead to deals on over the weekend. A lot of times Saturday is sort of our deal making day. And so a lot of times we'll call Saturday deal meeting Saturday because we're trying to get a good appointment with a seller on Friday, if not Thursday, to go out there. Now, remember that one of the ways that we approach the market is through opening calls. We do outbound calling. It's one of our marketing methods out of many. And so outbound calling is one way that we can sort of take control of the process a little bit and do our own outreach and potentially generate deals by ourselves without going through that marketing phase of sending out letters or postcards or doing social media and waiting for return calls. So yes, it's better. Is it better if a seller calls you? Are they generally going to be more motivated and flexible? Yes. However, if you are doing, if you want to just generate a bunch of business, you can get on the phone and just start making opening calls. Now, nobody is above making opening calls. I mean, I don't know how much time you want to spend in your business, and eventually opening calls should be delegated to virtual assistants or a local assistant that you trust who's good on the phone. And they can usually handle those calls, and there's some pre-screening involved there. But anytime that you want to just generate some potential business, I mean, that's the cool thing about especially creative financing deals, but you can find these deals anywhere. In fact, there's been some question about these two scripts that I've been talking about, two of the opening call scripts, and I promise they're in your they're getting uploaded either right now or within the next half an hour. Okay, and those are the opening call scripts that you can generate your own business just calling around today. And remember, you're going to run out of FSBOs in your area, but it's a big country. Okay, and that's why we always encourage developing virtual business in another area, whether it's buying whole properties that you get some kind of help with management on, or whether it's just a wholesale property. Now, the chances of you doing a fix and flip when it's 1,000 miles away, I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're going to have to do, some good research to try to find the right people, and you're going to have a little luck to find the right people. But locally, obviously, we want you doing every kind of deal. If you're doing deals at a distance, so I'm going to go over those calls again. Yeah, Tony, you were the one who was asking about those two calls. So those should be there. Whoa, thank you. You have the best system I've ever seen for real estate. How awesome. I love how you do what you do. Well, what a great way to give me a big head and give me a nice compliment in the morning. Compliments are awesome, guys. So let's get a good Foundation Friday going. Again, the opening calls that you want to make are FSBO opening calls. So print off 20 of the FSBO opening call scripts. Also, we do the landlord opening call, but sometimes when you're calling landlords, who's going to pick up? Property managers. So that's a new one that we should have up there now as of today, the property manager opening call. So when they pick up, guys, sometimes that's better than the landlord picking up. Now, if the landlord picks up, that's great. And you can say, hey, you're already renting the property. Have you ever thought about a rent to own, or would you consider that? And a lot of times you'll get a yes to that, especially when you say, I'll take care of all the repairs and maintenance and everything going forward. So that's a good angle to take on a landlord. But when the property manager picks up, property managers know a lot of landlords. So when you tell them that, now that a property manager is one of those people that you want to say before the call ends, hey, you know what? Maybe you can't think of any landlords right now who'd be open to selling a property on a rent to own or a lease purchase basis. But just keep thinking about it. And if something pops up, I want you to remember me. So actually, you know what? Put me in your contacts. I'll give you, let me give you my phone number, but you know what? Go, add contact, hit that plus or whatever, and then go to last name. And I want you to put seller financing in under last name. So do that with property managers, do that with realtors. Every realtor you talk to, I want you to tell them before you hang up, hey, put me in your phone under seller financing. I want to be your go-to person. When you find somebody who's having a little trouble selling their house and they're flexible, they don't need all the cash. And in fact, maybe they would prefer to get a monthly payment. You know, if somebody is like older and they're moving into a retirement home or a retirement community or something, and they're selling the big house that they had the kids in and they're empty nesters now, you know, they might actually not need $300,000 all at once. They might actually like a 5%, you know, secured by real estate monthly payment. You know, a lot of times people have a big chunk of money and you know what they do with it? They go buy a cash flow. You know, they go buy some kind of a big $300,000 worth of stock that gives a 3% dividend every year so that they can get a little bit of cash flow off of that money. So again, this is a much better deal for them. We can afford to pay, depending on the deal, we can afford to pay usually 4 or 5, maybe 6%. We can sometimes, if it's a cheaper house under 100,000, you can afford to pay 8 or 9% sometimes. So seller financing is sometimes a good choice for people. Sometimes you have to educate your realtors and educate your property managers and tell them something like what I just said. And I do tell them that. I say, you know, some people, if they knew this was an option, they would prefer it. You know, they don't want a 300,000 dropped in their lap that they have no idea what to do with. They don't have some big high-powered investment advisor. And even if they did, they'd get them, you know, maybe 5% return, and that might be a little risky. You know, this is totally secured by real estate, no risk, plenty, you know, and we make our payments directly to you. You know, so this is definitely a feature that a lot of agents and property managers might be open to if they knew they had a person who could do it. See, and that's the thing. If they had a person they could trust and who was their seller financing right on their phone, and it says it right there on their phone that this person is an expert in seller financing. And so that's what I want you to do to build your business. So again, every property manager you talk to, anybody in the business, including realtors, so property managers and realtors specifically. So that's another opening call, remember, is your listing realtor opening call. So print off 20 FSBO opening calls, 20 listing realtor opening calls, 20 landlord opening calls, 20 property manager opening calls, okay, all of those, and then 20 what we call off-market house opening calls. So now the off-market houses, that's when you're doing your drive-in for dollars and you're driving around and whoa, that thing's a dump. You know, it's clearly vacant. There's newspapers in the driveway, no cars, broken window, overgrown landscaping, anything like that. You know, it needs a new roof, stuff like that. So you're going to see a house like that. Then I want you to figure out, now there's different ways to do skip traces to figure out who owns that property. Sometimes you can do a simple thing like, believe it or not, listen to this, a white pages reverse lookup. Okay, maybe you didn't even know you could do this, but if you put an address in this reverse lookup white pages, it will give you an owner, somebody who used to have a phone at that address sometimes and a phone number. So see what you can find through that. And sometimes you'll just get a name and then you can track down the name through the current white pages. Or you can track down people's names through LinkedIn and Facebook and other social media, potentially next door. Okay, so you can track down. But now the easiest thing, we have a software CRM program that does skip traces for 10 cents. So when we need to find somebody, we just put their name in and we get their information right back and then we can call them. So that would be if you're trying to look up some of your off-market seller deals. You know, if you find the address, you find the house, but you don't know who owns it, that's when you need to do some kind of skip trace or go to the county records. Now, if you get good at your county records, see if you can do that. Some counties, believe it or not, are charging money for you to go in and access county records, and they're charging you, and you have to sign up and put a code in and all this other stuff. Most of them are still where you can go on your county records and you can pull up an address and it'll show you who owns the house. It'll show you a whole bunch of information. So, you know, your first step might be, you could try that white pages thing, but you can also just go to the county records, depending on your area, your county, how they store their records. And if you just put an address in, Sometimes they make you put a lot number in. That's really hard because you got to track down a lot number and stuff, or a legal address. Hopefully they don't make you jump through hoops like that. Hopefully your county is nice, and when you just put an address in some box somewhere, the whole listing pops up. That's how Arizona is. Arizona is pretty good. Maricopa County is pretty good with the records, so it's easy to track people down through that. All right, so again, that's your set of opening calls. And on top of printing 20 of each of those, print at least, like, I don't know, 50 of those closing call prep sheets, or at least 20. And so every time you're making a call, that's where you're going to be filling out your notes and making your plan and devising your strategy, what you think your approach to the seller is, and your eventual exit strategy too. All right, so that was a lot to get into. I always try to keep it under 10 minutes, but I haven't been doing such a great job of that lately because I've just been wanting to give you guys some awesome information. I think you're going to have a great weekend, right, guys? You're going to have an awesome weekend this weekend. Isabel always has a lot to say. Great explanation. Thank you, dear. Yes, and thank you that I explained it in a good way that you guys can grasp it. That's a lot to read there. Guys, I love it when you put your comments in so much because it's really positive. Thanks so much. You guys, we're really going to, I want to track your success. Stay in touch with us. You can always send us an email anytime. If you want to talk to me a little bit further, besides just popping a comment in the Brunch with Brian, feel free to send an email to me anytime at support@thewolfcouple.com. And just in the subject, because we have a lot of folks in the organization, put "for Brian" in caps, okay? For Brian in caps, and then whatever subject you want information about. And maybe we can even get on the phone. I'm open to that as well. So let me know. And you can always get on the phone with Lynette to help you guys with anything that you need. So it's great. Hey, Lee, good to see you. Great to see you, Tony and Isabel, today. You guys making lots of great comments today. Thank you for that. Doris, awesome to see you too. So hi, everybody. And hopefully everybody had a great Independence Day, like Doris said, and going to have an awesome weekend this weekend too. So our affirmation for today is I build, let's see, I was trying to work foundation in because Foundation Friday. I build my foundation on Friday. Let's do that. Okay, I build my foundation on Friday. 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I build my foundation on Friday. Kind of a long one. I build my foundation on Friday. I build my foundation on Friday. Yes, so Friday's a good day to get some calls made and to make some connections. And the cool thing is that when you make a connection with a landlord or a property manager or a listing realtor, those are a contact. I mean, when you're making that opening call, it's important because even if you don't end up doing that one house and they say, oh, my seller on this property isn't interested in that, you're making a contact with them. You're making a connection. So always make sure you're storing every realtor you ever talk to. Make sure you keep their contact information and set up some way to send them an email at least once a month that says, hey, remember me? I'm looking for houses that are either a good deal and distressed or that are in perfect condition, and I'll pay full price if the seller will consider monthly payments. So that's how we approach it. Lots of interesting stuff today. We got to do our deep breathing. Nice deep breath in. Oh, that feels good. I love filling up my lungs with oxygen. 1 more, 2 more. And always put a smile on your face. Always puts you in a great mood. Relax your shoulders as you exhale. 1 more. And all right, good one. All right, that's always great. So have an awesome weekend. Build it up with Foundation Friday. And until I see you on Monday, keep expecting success. You guys know this as good as I do. Keep expecting success, getting awesome